You're listening to 88.7 WLUW Chicago Sound Alliance, broadcasting from the campus of Loyola University. It's live from the Heartland, featuring Katy, Hogan, and Thom Clark. On today's show, we delve deeply into one of Chicago's cultural hallmarks, gospel music, and Mahalia Jackson. Our guests are Bob Marovich, host of Gospel Memories, Jackie Taylor, Black Ensemble Theater founder and CEO, also playwright and director of Mahalia with Robin DaSilva, the actor who plays Mahalia. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
Go marching in. Go marching in. Well, I saw this play the other night. It's put together by our two guests. It's called Mahalia Jackson, Moving Through the Light. And it's written and directed by Jackie Taylor, who's with us. Welcome back, or welcome to Live from the Heartland, Jackie.
It's my pleasure.
What a treat to have you. We're so honored. And the lead singer and the role of Mahalia is played by Robin DaSilva, who has an incredible voice, and it's right here next to me.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome. What a treat it was to see that the other night with our producer, Lynn. Thank you very much for that. It's maybe the fourth or fifth time I've been in your theater, Jackie. It is a beautiful theater on
Thank you.
It's a wonderful space.
Chicago's north side, right just north of Montrose, between Montrose and Leland on Clark Street. There's parking. It's a beautiful, beautiful scene. When did you open BET?
The actual?
The actual.
The original?
Well, the original, you can tell us, yes, I remember.
1976.
Yeah, and where was it then?
I was on Wells Street, 1429 North Wells Street.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you managed to do a building fund builder.
Yeah, we raised $20 million.
Girl. In what in the 80s you did that?
No, we raised that in that building that is now Black Ensemble Theater Cultural Center was actually a factory.
Yeah.
Right.
And in 2006, we decided that we really needed to institutionalize the theater so that we would have a permanent asset. So I started walking the neighborhood because I knew I wanted to stay within where I was, which was at 4520 North Beacon in the old Uptown Hull House.
Hull House, yeah.
And I saw that corner and decided, okay, that's where we're going to be. So that was 2006.
Incredible reuse of that building, having lived around the corner from it.
Yeah.
And having first seen you guys at the Uptown Center.
Yeah, right. Which
phenomenal
I loved that
box
space.
So
theater.
I'm guilty of being an old
Very
lady.
intimate.
Putting decades in the wrong spot. I'm even more impressed that it was only 2006 that you basically said, boom, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And then you raised the money to do it. It's really impressive, Jackie Taylor.
So we want to hear from Robin, but I would like to hear a little bit, Jackie, about the creative process that you engage in to do a production like Mahalia. You know, a somewhat well-known personality whose music is also going to be familiar. I became familiar with her through Stud Sterkel. And still remember her singing at the Martin Luther King March in '66 from Soldier Field to City Hall.
Right.
So phenomenal voice, and yet a lot of people don't know about her. So how did you decide to tackle the wealth of music that she's behind and responsible for this kind of a production?
Well, the music wasn't difficult. You know, I write. I've written over 100 plays, so it's
prolific much. Jeez, girl. Jeez.
But I did a lot of research.
Mm-hmm.
I did a Mahalia Jackson story in the early '90s, but it just wasn't enough. So I decided to tackle it from a different aspect. What if we looked at Mahalia after she passed away? What happened to her was my initial thought. I wonder where is she? And
so there she is with the
Right.
masters and the angels
and the guardians.
and the
yes.
guardians. Yeah.
Which is a classic theme in and of itself.
Well, actually, That's from my readings.
Okay.
I do a lot of readings, and especially in terms of not so much religion, but actually the different aspects of our existence, not only as human beings, because that's just one part of it, but our existence as entities.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all, Jackie Taylor.
Robin,
You are
how
one-
did you come to this role? How do you even prepare for a role like this?
Well, first of all, I was a part of the show that had happened right before called Women of Soul, and I was playing Mahalia Jackson, and it's the great story about
That was a great production.
It
Now,
was.
now I'm remembering this one. Okay.
Is that I wasn't going to audition for the initial show, and a friend of mine said, they're looking for a Mahalia Jackson, and I had just put Trouble of the World in my book for audition purposes. I was auditioning for something somewhere, and I said, they want a gospel song. I'm going to tackle this Mahalia. And I just put it in my book, and about 6 months before. And they said, well, they're looking for a Mahalia. I said, okay, I'll put this song on its legs. And Daryl Brooks was supposed to be to conduct the auditions for his, and for some odd reason, he was not able to be there. And Miss Taylor was there. So when I come in, hand her my picture and resume, and I go to sing, she asked me what I was going to sing, and I said, I'm going to sing Trouble of the World. And by Mahalia Jackson, she was like, okay.
Holding your cards. Okay.
So, and when I tell you, this woman is amazing. But I sang the first note, and when I sing, I look up just to make sure that I'm not really, jacking
Blowing
it
it.
up, And so I looked at her, and she was on the edge, sort of like, now let's see if she's gonna really
Do this.
Ooh, I could tell that she would be like, okay, stop, if it wasn't right. And I hit the friend, and it was like she kind of just relaxed a little bit back in her chair. And I was like, okay, let me keep going. At least I got a couple more seconds that I can sing. And she came to me later on in the run. I got the role, of course, in that. And she said, I want to do Mahalia Jackson, and I would really like for you to be my Mahalia. And the shock of it was amazing, because I knew the weight of the role was going to be great. Not because of what she would write or something, but I mean because of this icon taking on, the life of this icon. You can't really study and really research enough for that.
Right.
Because there are pieces that are being peeled off to me pretty much every day.
Give us an example of one piece of research you did on Mahalia that really that went to your heart and you took it to the role with you.
I bought this DVD set, and it had there was another disc that had lots of other things. They said, well, we're just going to throw this stuff in here, and there was so much information, and where they said how she was fully aware of her influence and the importance of it, to where she would give free concerts around the country. And when she would give these concerts, she would do 2, 3, 5 songs, and the people are there, pack the house out to see her.
Yeah.
And then she would bring out speakers to come out
to organize.
to and talk. It could
Amen.
be for voting, or just to say, what, there's civil unrest. We need to band together as a people, and it was just amazing. And when I saw that, I said, wow. Because a lot of times, singers are, oh, you're just a dumb singer. You hold a mic and but when people understand their place and their purpose, and then they're running into it. It's amazing.
With open arms. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Jackie Taylor, how do you make what is so beautifully offered at BET Theater something that can be educational, in the way that we were just talking, Mahalia made her concerts? How do you get, for example, as I was sitting there the other night with Lynn, it was a Thursday night, so there were some empty seats, and I said, wow, I can picture a busload of kids from the West Side filling those seats and being all up in this. And I'm sure you do that from time to time. How difficult is that? How much have you built it into your stuff? Just sharing the legacy that you are putting up there on stage time after time.
Well, you know, I was a teacher for 40 years.
Does not surprise me.
So
She's still teaching.
Yeah.
Amen.
so it's just part of my anatomy. It's part of my DNA. We have a outreach program where we actually perform and reach and teach about 10,000 young people a year. So from all over the city. So we feel that we do a fantastic job of educating, because for me, theater, the basis of any art form is education. The basis of the purpose of theater is for us to learn of any art.
Yeah.
Is to learn who we are, where we came from, how we move forward. It tells our political beliefs. It talks about our spiritual beliefs, and it's so vitally important because it helps us to actually learn. It provides all the basic cognitive skills that we need in order to be able to read and write and math and so forth and so on. So I think one of the biggest crimes in the world is when they took the arts out of the schools. That was just a very uneducated,
Unacceptable.
big mistake.
Unacceptable.
And we hope that they'll realize that and start to building our schools again. But
you have done what you just described through the Women of Soul piece, Howlin' Wolf. You did a piece on Howlin' Wolf. You did the Curtis Mayfield story, which was hugely popular. And we covered that on this show. And you also did a Janis Joplin piece. Was she not in the chorus? The gal who played Janis Joplin?
Janis Joplin,
Wasn't she one of the
yes,
Guardians?
She was one of the Guardians, but she was part of the Women of Soul because of course Janis
okay.
Joplin had soul.
Amen.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
White
You
Soul System.
began to address this, Robin, but I'm curious in your playwriting how you balance the singer with this very political person that's in so much a part of that personality in terms of at least who I got to know through the radio. In this divisive time we're in, how do you use art to also bring out?
Well,
that
the
other
mission of the Black Ensemble Theater for the 43 years that we have been in existence is to eradicate racism.
Amen.
And to help to strengthen and correct the effects that it has had on our society. So we have been revolutionary since we began. When we first started, people said that was crazy and it was impossible. And my belief is it is not crazy, it is not impossible, and it will happen, but we have to work toward it.
Oh, yeah.
And as a teacher, you have to be able to reach and teach everyone, and if you're successful. And that's everyone. That's the student who is autistic. That's the student who is labeled as special, or that's every single student. When you are a dedicated teacher, must be reached. And for me, as human beings, if it's our mission to eradicate racism, then we must be able to reach and teach the masses, not just one race or another race. It's the masses, because racism is an institutionalized system that is embedded in this country and was built this country for 465 years actually. So it's a process of education that helps us to understand as human beings we are all very much alike, and the theater that Black Ensemble produces speaks beyond race, which is why our productions are so successful, and we're the most diverse theater company in the country, because we can learn from all races,
Oh, yes.
no matter what the race is. We can learn from them. But what really binds us as human beings is our similarities, our sameness. We are so much more alike, no matter our culture, than we are different. And at Black Ensemble Theater, no matter your race, creed, or color, it's important that you see yourself on that stage so that you continue to come back, you continue to learn. And I don't mean see yourself in terms of if I'm purple, then there's a purple person. That's very basic. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the humanist of what we have that combines us all.
Robin, what was it like to be in this leading role when there are two black women running for mayor of Chicago?
That really wasn't a concern as far as, well, not a concern, but a focus. But it was definitely something to go, wow, I'm living in this time. And wondering, what would Mahalia do in the time? Who would she be behind? Well, she would be 97. But who would she stand behind? Who would she put her weight behind? So it was definitely something to think about, but to know that I'm living in this time where the future is smack dab right here in our laps, and also dealing with a figure in the past. It was really amazing to think about.
Can I just say, Robin DaSilva, sitting here next to you after seeing you as Mahalia Thursday night, you become Mahalia. Honestly, you sitting here now, you're just like a girlfriend I would see and I would ride the L with, or something else, nothing special. But when you get in that gown and tape that microphone to your cheek, poor baby, oh my gosh, you really embodied her. And I've delved into Mahalia a little bit in preparation for this. Mahalia had some wigs on her. I mean, that's the only thing I could see you maybe doing, changing wigs once or twice, like Diana Ross in her, in her shows. Because, I mean, she did some crazy wigs.
Oh, yeah, but it was as she went on, because at first she wore her own hair.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And, and it's crazy because when my first set of headshots, professional headshots that I'd ever done, they were horrible. But the second ones I'd done, Ife Butler was like, you need to go see this guy. And I saw him, and when I tell you the same hairdo I had, and this is years ago, the hair, and I looked at that picture and one of Mahalia Jackson's pictures, and I was like, wow, I had the same hair.
Whoa.
And it wasn't like I was going, okay, can you do her hair? I didn't do that. But it's amazing that I look at a picture decades ago.
Yeah.
And then look at something, a picture of her, and I see the resemblance.
Yeah.
My family came last night, and they were like, "You walk different when you're."
That's
you're
what I
on
mean
there
by
too."
embody.
So I was like,
The other thing I just have to mention, the rest of the cast, I mean, the incredible voices on, particularly the three masters.
Yes.
Blew my mind. What is the sister's name who is the headmaster there?
Cynthia Carter.
Dang, she's good. Oh, my Lord, she's good. She has to have been in some of your other productions.
Oh, absolutely. Cynthia's been with Black Ensemble Theater about 15 years.
And what about the band up there behind stage?
My musicians are...
Are they the house band, as
Robert
it were?
Redrick is our musical director. He's been our musical director for about 15 years now, but he's been with Black Ensemble Theater about 20 years. And a lot of the musicians, we have a whole house stable of musicians, and we're always in a learning process, because for me it's important to always be working on whatever it is that you do. It's just my philosophy where, let's reach for perfection, even though we know we really can't be there in terms of being human, but let's reach for it. So we have a whole cadre of instructors that work with the cast all the time. The cast must attend their music lessons, their voice lessons. The band is always gelling and working and developing, so that we continue to grow.
So it strikes me that your creative process is also part of your community building that you spoke of earlier. Bigger, more famous theater companies like Steppenwolf have an ensemble or a cadre of regular folks or Looking Glass. You clearly have been doing that for a while by having a steady stable of musicians and actors and actresses who come back and play other roles. That was purposeful on your part, to build up a group of people that you could go back to and count on to.
Well, I wouldn't say that it was purposeful. I would say that it just happens. I'm 43 years old, but we're not a private club.
Right.
We're not an ensemble of actors and musicians who continually work together, because I want to give opportunities to everyone, to as many people as we possibly can, whether they're experienced or inexperienced or trained or not trained, it doesn't matter. There are people out there who deserve professional experience and to work and to learn. So I want it to be open for anyone who wants to come. But of course, we have our artists who everyone has to audition. No one can say
no special treatment.
Right. I have the role because I've been here. Oh no, you don't, baby. This is the real world. Don't take anything for granted. And everyone has to audition, and we take everybody. They don't have to be union. They can be union or non-union or never have done a play in their life. But if we see something, if we see a spark, then it's our responsibility to make that spark into a fire.
Beautiful.
Can you give us a hint about what the Black Ensemble Theater might be up to next?
Well, I'll give you a hint. My hint is we are building a village, and that's all I'm gonna give you.
All right.
Building a
Takes a
village.
village.
Yes.
Robin, you have 2 more weeks in this run, and yes, we are going to plug it here before we go out, but what do you have coming down the road?
I'm just really excited to be a part of the Black Ensemble family. I've been begging Miss Taylor for an opportunity to audition for, and here I am in a show that
The star. If they
you
have
could say
such a
that. I won't ever say that, but
All right. The main character.
and I the title character. Okay,
There you go.
And I was like, Miss Taylor, so about that other Cinderella at the end of the year, can I please get a script and audition for something? And she's like, well, we'll see where you can fit in, and I'll give you some sides, and we'll see. And I was like, yes, ma'am, thank you.
I love it.
So I'm hoping to at least get an opportunity to audition for that. As far as I'm going on to the other side of the creative table, and hopefully assistant directing, helping with that, some vocal arranging and vocal directing as well. So in addition to my teaching, it's a public school teacher, so
Excellent.
You're a public school teacher
Your students
right now?
are lucky.
Chicago Public Schools.
Where do you teach? If you don't
I
mind my
teach
asking.
music.
Wonderful.
my gosh, so you
Music
move around.
teacher. No,
Thank you,
nope,
thank
I'm
you.
at one school.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. We need music in all our schools.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, I started an institution that, if it were open today, would also be 42 years old, the Heartland Cafe, and which is where we started doing this show live from the Heartland. We're still in the Heartland here.
That's right.
Downtown Chicago. What do you do for and with around Gospel Fest? Do you do any tie-ins with them?
No,
No. Yeah.
unless we have a gospel show.
Right.
But
Well, you do at the moment.
At the moment, but we don't have a gospel
won't be-
fest right now.
Right,
so,
right. Okay.
But we try to coincide and do many things with the city. We're getting ready to perform at Choose Chicago at Navy Pier shortly.
So
The play is Mahalia. It's around for 2 more weeks at the Black Ensemble Theater, which is in Uptown at 4450 North Clark Street. Go on the web to get more details. Don't miss it. We've got wonderful talent here that we...
Jackie Taylor, Robin DaSilva, it has been our honor